Call to order the Catawba County Board of Education's regular meeting for August 17th of 2026. First, we'll start with the invocation, followed by the pledge, and then approval of minutes. Before the invocation, if you're offended by prayer, you may step out and return when the prayer has ended. Let's stand, and Pastor Walter Cantwell from Christ Church on Fairgrove campus, Hickory, North Carolina, will be leading it this evening.
So the Catawba County Board of Education, to Dr. Stover and to all of you, thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. Let us pray. Almighty and gracious Father, tonight we gather with grateful hearts for all that we've experienced today, for the work that we've done, for the time we've spent with loved ones, and now for the opportunity to be here together tonight. And as we gather, we recognize that this is the eve of school beginning. And Lord, we think about all the little ones who are preparing. Just as your Son said long ago, let the little children come to me. That, Lord, we know that these students are precious in your sight, that they are valuable and worthy. And so, God, we pray for them as they prepare to begin this school year. We pray for all the students who will be walking into a new school. Lord, we ask that you would go with them, that you would calm their nerves and help them to find their way and to make friends at their new places. God, we think about the students who are anxious, who are worried about school starting next week, the ones who struggled last year in class, the ones who experienced the pains of being bullied, and the ones who were all alone. Calm them and give them peace. And Lord, we think about all the students who are excited, the ones who wake up every morning with a joy in their heart to learn. And Lord, we think about the other students who are excited, that have challenging home lives. May school continue to meet their needs and fill them with joy. And Father, we pray that you would bless the teachers. Give them all that they need. Give them eyes to see the students as you see them. And give them the strength and endurance so that this year will be the best yet. And Father, as we come into the important work of the school board, I pray that you would fill the members and all the presenters with clarity and a sense of focus this evening of the important task at hand. Let them dream dreams of what can be for our schools here in Catawba County. Father, do not let them settle for status quo, but urge them on. And unite this group with a spirit of gentleness, with a spirit of working together, and with a spirit of enriching the lives of our schools. May they be people of hope, peacemakers, and waymakers. We ask this in the powerful name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes from July 27th, 2026. You've all had this in your folders. I seek a motion for approval or adjustments to the meetings if needed. All right, hearing a motion, is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise the hand. Unanimous with the present members. Next on the agenda is the adjustment approval of the agenda presented by Dr. Stover.
Chairman Settlemeyer, members of the board, we would ask the board to consider adding consent number 5, quarterly fundraising request from Bandy's High School. Ask that you'd put that as part of our consent agenda this evening.
Okay. Is there any further discussion about the agenda for this evening? Take a motion to add consent. To add consent number 5, quarterly fundraising request for Bandy's High School.
So move.
Hearing that, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, show raise of hand. Unanimous with present members. Next is the chairman's report. Give a shout out to Quest. Quest had a fantastic summer and served 400 students at 6 sites. Students enjoyed physical activity, group games, water games, arts and crafts, STEM projects, dramatic play, and more. Went into field trips to Hickory, Morganton, Blowing Rock, South Mountains, Gastonia, and beyond. We appreciate all of our families that choose Quest this summer, and that was from Aaron Gates, our Quest director. This is their first year doing it. Okay. Good job. And, okay, thank you, Stephen. And just as the pastor noted, we begin school next Monday, so let's be careful out there because we'll have a lot of buses on the road with a lot of cars taking their kids to school. And it'll just be more traffic, but we want our kids in the building safely this year like we have always in the past and continue to do that. So thank you for that. Next up is the superintendent's report. Dr. Stover.
Thank you, Chairman Settlemeyer. Just great first day back with our staff. And of course, we have some preliminary results from our testing that we'll be able to share September 3rd. We're anxiously awaiting that. It looked like preliminary looks pretty good. And so we're excited about that. We also are igniting this year. And I think you've probably seen the stuff I've been sending out, but just the opportunity for each staff member to truly have that fire burning each day and relying on each other to help build that up so we can give our best to our children every single day. Got a great story and some new things going on with that. So we're really excited about this year. I also want to give you an update on our Constitution Day. I want to thank Ms. Teague for the Constitutions. We got all those ready to rock and roll. Thank you, Dr. McCreary and our staff. We've got some incredible lessons planned. We've sent out some invitations for you guys to come visit and volunteer, whatever you'd like. It's going to be a good time. 250 years of the history of the United States. So, gotta love celebrating the Constitution, Bill of Rights. So, we are excited about that. And outside of that, we are prepared for Monday. I know we have our Miss Underwood, we have our prayer meetings on Sunday night. Our communities come together, pray for all our schools across Newton, Hickory, and Catawba. So we're really excited about that. So that being said, that's probably enough for tonight, Chairman. I appreciate y'all. Let's have a good meeting.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Stover. Next up is public comment, and since April Underwood made it, you'll go ahead and do that.
Catawba County Board of Education appreciates and welcomes all public comments. Members of the public who have signed up to speak may address the board concern during the public comment section of a regular meeting. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address board members. A time clock will be displayed to assist each speaker with their 3-minute time limit. Speakers should direct their comments to board members rather than to the audience. Comments by members of the public should be respectful without slander toward any other member of the public, community member, or any member. Any displays of approval or disapproval are out of order.
Where was I? I've talked a lot about hypocrisy. It would seem y'all don't care. I've talked about the law of the prophets. It would seem y'all don't care. I've talked a lot about the First Amendment of the Constitution. I know at least one of you has taken notes to protect and defend the Constitution. I've talked a little bit about charlatanism and pretending that the exact words of separation of church and state not being in the Constitution implies that interleaving the church and state is constitutional. The Constitution is an amazingly short, succinct document. The Constitution and Declaration of Independence combined can fit on a handy pamphlet. There's lots of insight into what the founding fathers intended wrapped up in this small package, but sometimes you have to go back and read the rest of the story. Thomas Jefferson, a very religious man, had a lot to say about freedom and independence, and was a significant contributor to our founding fathers' ideas and principles. In case you've forgotten, he wrote the Declaration of Independence. What do you think his view on the separation of church and state was? In his words, the legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free expansion thereof. Sound familiar? Thus, building a wall of separation between church and state. Those are Thomas Jefferson's words. Pretty strong words for a very religious man. This sentiment was further determined to be the intent of the Constitution when the Supreme Court ruled on separation of church and state in Everson v. Board of Education, 330 U.S. 1, 1947. They ruled neither a state nor the federal government can openly or secretly participate in the affairs of any religious organization or groups, and vice versa. In the words of Jefferson, the clause against establishment of religion by law was intended to erect a wall of separation between church and state. The Supreme Court has ruled. That's the law. Church and state separate, guaranteed by the Constitution. Your religious organizations participating in this civic affair violates my constitutional rights. And it would seem y'all don't care. Once you've accepted your own personal hypocrisies, life gets pretty easy. You can say whatever you want, you do whatever you want, and the rules, well, they're just for the other guys. Right and wrong cease to matter as long as you get what you want. And what you want is your religion established in the school board meeting by policy 2.315. It's not legal, it's not moral, it's not right. I guess once you've accepted personal hypocrisy, none of that matters. An oath to protect and defend the Constitution? Missed it. See you next time.
Thank you, Mr. Wiedemann.
Oh, shut up.
Our next speaker is Isaac Burke.
Thank you. Members of the board, my name is Isaac Burke, and I represent the North Carolina Values Coalition, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the defense of life, family, and religious liberty in the state of North Carolina. I'm here to speak in support of the proposed policy 4.0000, student privacy in restrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations. I'd like to applaud the board and your legal counsel for drafting a proposed policy that is clear and balanced and which will provide students with the privacy and protection that they deserve. As an organization, we have received complaints from female students in various school districts across North Carolina who are being forced to share their multiple occupancy restrooms, locker rooms, and other private spaces with biological males. This is unacceptable and dangerous. Sex is a biological reality, not an identity, and good policy should reflect that common sense truth. The rights of female students depend on policies that differentiate between male and female based on biology, and ignoring that distinction puts young girls at risk. In other parts of the country, there have been disturbing cases of girls being assaulted due to gender policies that put ideology over safety, including a girl in Virginia who was sexually assaulted in a school bathroom by a male student wearing a skirt. School boards across North Carolina must prevent these dangers by ensuring that girls' private spaces remain protected. Thank you again for your initiative in drafting this much needed and common sense policy, and we respectfully ask that the board proceed with its adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. That concludes public comment. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, items 1 through 7. Had a chance to look at these, except for number 5, which was added this evening. When you're ready, I just need a motion so we can approve these. Hearing a motion, is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. Unanimous, thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the 2026-2027 budget resolution for Catawba County Schools, presented by Seth Previtt.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Chairman Settlemeyer, members of the board, Dr. Stover. I've been with some of my auditor friends all day, and we've been working on prettying up last year, so it's nice to flip back into the current, the here and now. So tonight, I'm seeking approval of the 26-27 budget resolution. And this is a prescribed format. North Carolina General Statute 115C-425 requires local boards to adopt a budget based on balanced revenues and expenditures. So this may not be the prettiest format in the world, but that's why we use it, prescribed by general statute. So you'll see there at the top, section 1 are our revenues, and section 2 are the expenditures, and you will see at the bottom the subtotals match one another. That's the key to this. And from left to right, you see it broken down by fund source, with Fund 1 being State Public School Fund, and notice that it's by far the biggest dollars of anything there. I don't want to spend a ton of time explaining the obvious to you there, but that's kind of how it works. Still yet, this is a beginning point. We passed the budget resolution tonight. That does not mean that it's ready to roll and it's going to take us throughout the rest of the year. Expect a starting point and very quickly expect amendments. So I'll give you an example. Don't be surprised if in September you don't see me up here with a state public school fund budget resolution. Since I've been working on this, the state has passed a budget, thankfully this year. So those raises and things that were involved in the state budget, that's not in there yet. You'll see an amendment to add those funds to the budget soon. And when the state passes legislation, it's got a trickle down effect to all those other funds. So you'll be seeing those things over the coming months. I did mention the state budget. I want to point out that my team back in the office has been busy trying to implement those raises into our pay scales. And so they've gotten that done prior to us running the July payrolls. So any employees who were working the summer months got paid correctly. The same should be true for our teachers and instructional staff as they're back in the buildings and they're going to get paid in August. So that's awesome. No retro pays required this year, hopefully. It would be my expectation that we don't have those things anyway. So a lot further along for an August budget resolution than where we were in September last year passing the budget resolution, but still it's not a finished product. We'll adjust it throughout the year. Without me diving further, I'll give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions if you have them. If not, again, just seeking your approval. 26-27 budget resolution.
So thanks to your team for getting that worked out, because I heard from some folks that in other school systems that didn't get it were wondering why they didn't and we did. So thank your team for putting in that effort to get that done. And like you said, we won't have to back pay, and hopefully all the teachers and all that is going to be back in the building now that get that too, so we don't have to do that too. But as you said, there's going to be amendments to this, we know, but you see it changing that much other than the raises that were put in?
No, I don't. Compared to last year, this total budget's about 3.9% higher than last year. And that's not going to cover everything. So we know the state passed average 8% teacher salary raises. So my estimates were low, and that's the way I'm always going to do things. I'm going to try to be conservative until I see the real numbers pass. And then when we do, we'll adjust to them.
Right.
No surprises.
Good deal. Any other questions for Mr. Previtt? Hearing none, I seek a motion for approval of the 2026-2027 budget resolution for Catawba County Schools.
Chairman, I make that motion.
Hearing a motion, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise of hand. Unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is approval of CDW Education 2-year quote to purchase Google Workplace for Education Plus licensing. Mr. Marty Sharp.
Afternoon, Board Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. I stand in front of you this afternoon requesting a change to a previously approved license agreement that I came in front of you a few months ago. I did request us to downgrade our licensing for Google from what is called Plus down to Standard. The reason I did that was because of the projected cost of being close to $100,000. I could not fit that within our budget. Since then, licensing actually took place on August the 1st, and we came across a few situations that we didn't honestly imagine in regards to storage. On Saturday, August the 1st, we noticed that we ran into some storage issues altogether, which kind of restricted some of our users from being able to add documents, edit documents, and so on. We were able to take care of that in a temporary fashion, but that doesn't fix the situation. We've actually reached out to Google and CDW, and in fact, I have provided a briefing for you, and that's kind of what I was going to look at now. I provided that a week or so ago. They came back to us with a cost of the first year at $73,000 instead, or $72,000 for the licensing, as opposed to close to $100,000 that we were originally quoted. I'm asking the board to go back and allow us to upgrade our licensing, which would help our storage solution altogether for the next 2 years without issue. And if you want to get into kind of the details of that, I do have the storage section there. And we were dropped from about 138 terabytes down to 108. And we were already close on storage to begin with. And so I had to reduce it down to below 108. We decided to go ahead and look at paying for additional storage. So for every 10 terabytes of storage, it's about $3,600. When you begin adding that up over a period of time, with what we need, we were going to surpass that $72,000 that they came back to us with that quote. The way, if approved, the way that this would take place is that we would be credited by CDW on a prorated scale, on a daily scale. And I have put the projection underneath the credit section there. And you'll notice that if approved tonight, we'll move forward with this tomorrow. And we should look at receiving a credit about $54,637. And then with the total cost of $73,000, it would drop us down to only having to pay $18,799. Again, that is an estimate depending on when this actually takes place. Again, storage is our primary issue. And after doing all the calculations that we could, we wanted to make sure that we didn't have to delete more previous staff members because of public record and FOIA requests at that point. And so updating to that plus would end up giving us, I believe, should be that 4th bullet, because it does give us 20 gigabytes per user. That would be estimated at 348 terabytes altogether. We're currently at 100 and I believe 14 terabytes, plenty of storage for the next 2 years. That's my goal, is up to the next 2 years, to make sure that we're continuing with what we do and without any kind of service disruptions. If the board would like, I could go through additional features of Plus or kind of stop there for any questions. I want to make sure I'm not talking in circles.
No, you can continue.
Okay, all right. So beyond storage, moving back to Plus like we had before, would actually move us to Gemini for Workspace, which is their AI product. That would be available for all staff in our system. It would be integrated in with Gmail, with Google Drive, within Sheets. So for example, if you were in Google Sheets and you're trying to figure out a formula, instead of having to go search Google and everything else, you could actually bring up Gemini to the side. You could tell Gemini, look, I need to calculate these two columns, the difference between these two columns all the way down. You know, just imagine what you would need. And so then it would actually build that formula and do it for you. There's a lot of efficiencies that come with Gemini AI, especially for our staff. In addition to that, our Google Meet, once we moved down to standard, we did lose the capability for all staff to be unable to actually record Google Meets. We had an alternate plan. It wasn't the greatest, but we felt like it was legitimately good enough not to have to pay another up to $100,000 at that point. That would give our staff the capability of recording Google Meets, all staff in the district, instead of us having to purchase additional license for online Catawba teachers and trying to manage that. The other piece it does for Google Meet, it actually allows attendance reports. So let's say we have a weather event and we have to have a remote day. All teachers who are doing a Google Meet, again, they could record it, but they would also receive an attendance report automatically to their email that would provide them with a list of students that attended during that session. The last piece on there is Google Classroom. We still do use Google Classroom within our K-5 classes within our district. There's some new features of Google Classroom that would be extremely beneficial to those K-5 environments. One is the interactive assignments. What that would be is, imagine a teacher would have a great YouTube video that they're able to utilize with their students, but they want to make sure that the students aren't just kind of going through the video real quick or skipping. It would give them the capability of creating an interactive assessment to where it's built into the YouTube video itself within Google Classroom. It's very similar to another product that we pay for right now called Edpuzzle. We envision that if this year, if we're able to go to Plus, we would be able to actually utilize that across the district K-12 and actually probably reduce or just outright cancel our Edpuzzle subscription and just move strictly to our Google Plus environment instead. That would save us around $28,000 a year as well. So those are kind of the additions that we get with Plus again. As I mentioned, we were Plus before. Prices went up. They changed their licensing model. Of course, they changed it very close to when we had to renew. We were kind of in a panic trying to figure out what to do. I completely shouldered that. I stood in front of you and asked for that request and for approval. You granted it and we moved forward. I'm asking now if we could go back and look at adding the additional piece for Plus moving forward for the next 2 years. I hope that makes sense.
I think so.
Okay.
For my non-technology brain. You know, thank you for saving us money to start with, but then also thank you for realizing like, hey, this isn't going to work the way we intended it to, and coming back and saying, hey, we need to upgrade this because it's just not going to fulfill our needs at the moment. So
I'll be honest, it's tough coming back in front
Oh,
of
yeah.
you saying,
I'm sure it
hey, I
is.
have to shoulder this. So
Right.
I do appreciate your time and your thoughts on this.
yeah, thank you for that, for coming back and just admitting that we need to do better with this. So, is there any more questions for Mr. Sharp?
I feel like that Marty's done, since I've been on the board, his very best to get the most out of our budget, and I appreciate what he does in doing that. Does the best he can possibly do.
I appreciate that. Thank
Sure.
you.
So if there are no more comments, I seek approval of CDW Education two-year quote to purchase Google Workplace for Education Plus licensing. Hearing a motion, is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise the hand. Unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next up, approval of current schematic design for sixth grade middle school additions and renovation projects for Maiden Middle School, H.M. Art Middle School, Jacobs Fork Middle School, Mill Creek Middle School, and Riverbend Middle School, presented by Mr. Westmoreland.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Chairman Settlemyre, members of the board, Dr. Stover. So last month, I brought you some updates and some information about this project. And tonight, we are going to seek approval of our current schematic design. With me tonight, I have our architects that are leading this project, Greg Melton from Holland Hamrick, and Andrew Alacandri and Jenny McGrath from LS3P. Also, Aaron Bean from Hickory Construction with us, and of course, our very own Robert Hull, heavily involved in this. So as we present tonight, or our architects present tonight, please feel free to ask questions. This is the time to ask. So that's why we got the team here to answer any questions you may have. So with that, Greg, I'll let you kick off, though.
I'd like to say, to start off with, I like how they got the suspended roof for the gym in the picture too. I like that.
We made sure to model that because that was definitely something to give you perspective there. But it's great to be back in front of the board tonight. Chairman Settlemyre, it seems like your gavel may be a little smaller this meeting than it was the last time I was here. So, but as you guys know, the design for this project has continued to progress. We've received great feedback from the faculty and staff, even though we understand that discussing school design during summer break for some of the teachers may not be a popular subject. But regardless, we have been met with energy and enthusiasm at every turn. I'd like to say a special thank you to Angela Williams and her staff, who we inundated with meetings even today, as well as Robert and Stephen for the support that they provided to us along the way. I think it goes without saying that everybody that we deal with, I'm sure the folks from LS3P would say the same thing for Catawba County Schools, is top notch. So, you know, it's great to have the information you need to move forward. I'd like to take you through the plans and renderings tonight, so please interrupt me at any time if you have any questions. This first slide is the site plan for the project. As a reminder, the plan is color coded, so the areas that are in blue and green are the additions, while the area that is white is the existing building. As part of the site improvements, the main entrance of the school will be relocated to where the car rider drop-off is now and where will be moving forward. This area will be reconfigured to have a clearer drive aisle and angled parking. Students and visitors will enter the building at the main lobby next to the administrative area, cafeteria, and gymnasium. We'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this. So we're talking about this. This is where the car rider area is now and will be moving forward. The bus lot will be relocated below the existing gymnasium. Bus riders will enter the building and exit the building through the cafeteria, or through a corridor beside the cafeteria. Loading dock access for the kitchen will be provided from this lot, which is what you're seeing here. The existing bus lot, which is up near the existing cafeteria, will be repurposed into a faculty lot that will serve the 8th grade and electives wing. And a drive connecting C Avenue, which is the road you're seeing to the plan north of the site here, to the existing car rider loop will be added, and that will provide extra stacking space for the car rider drop-off, as well as faculty parking for the 6th and 7th grade areas of the building. We'll zoom back out. Is any questions on the site plan?
What is this houndstooth pattern? What is that, like a gravel drive over there, or?
Right here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So a constant evolution of what will happen to the baseball field. In this iteration, which I think we provided in early August, we were providing a fire apparatus access road in the outfield of the baseball field, and that was when we had the 8th grade addition on the end down here. Now that we're not doing the 8th grade addition, we won't have to have that fire apparatus access road, and so we are going to relocate the fence in left center and center field to an appropriate middle school depth. And only, we'll provide a paved path on the, right outside that fence for ease of access from some of these remote parking areas. But there will not be a fire apparatus access road down there now. Did I get that right, Robert? Constant evolution. That was something we even discussed this morning. Any other questions on the site plan? All right. The next slide is the overall floor plan. Items in blue over here are phase 1 additions, which are part of the critical path for students to arrive in August of 28. Items in green are phase 2 additions. The construction of these additions will begin shortly after the construction for phase 1 additions and after utilities are relocated into courtyards. We're going to have to kind of work our way out of those courtyards with that addition. And items in yellow are interior alterations within the existing building. Some of them will happen concurrently with phase 1 construction, and some of them will happen after phase 2 is completed. The remaining existing spaces in white will receive cosmetic upgrades such as paint, flooring, cabinetry, and ceilings in areas that we hadn't previously installed new ceilings in other projects. All exterior storefront and windows will be either replaced or reglazed with insulated glass. The additions are approximately 30,000 square feet, with 6,000 of that being part of phase 1 and 24,000 being part of phase 2. We'll zoom into the phase 1 addition. Real quickly, I may go to the next slide just to give you a concept of where the grade levels will live in the building. So 6th grade will be in an L shape here in what we refer to as the donut building, the current 100 area. 7th grade will be along the bottom portion of that building and into the new addition. And 8th grade will be where 8th grade is currently. So the phase 1 addition serving the 7th grade area has 2 standard classrooms, 2 science classrooms, staff restrooms, an office, and a workroom. 2 additional science classrooms that will serve the 6th grade area, science workrooms, and a team room will be part of the interior renovations and alterations within the existing building. The existing restrooms serving the 6th grade and 7th grade areas will be renovated. And the existing administrative suite, which is at the upper left-hand corner of this plan, will be renovated to be back into a classroom, which is what it was originally in 1951, as well as an EC classroom inside. Going over to the 8th grade wing, it will have interior alterations that create new restrooms, staff restrooms, and a workroom, and reconfigured classroom spaces. The existing class cafeteria, which is up here on this upper portion, will be renovated to become an EC cluster suite with 3 EC classrooms, an instructional kitchen/laundry area, a therapy room, seclusion room, offices, and a conference area. So the old cafeteria will be an EC suite, EC cluster suite. The existing media center will be expanded into the 2 classrooms that are planned south of the current space. I don't know if you, for those of you who've been to Maid Middle, there are 3 classrooms here currently. So the media center will expand into 2 of those classrooms. And the remaining classroom will be used for an EC classroom as well as book storage for the media center. The renovated media center will have more space for class and large group meetings, more shelving, reading areas, and book storage. It will also have an office for the coordinator, conference room that can be used by either the 8th grade or media center staff, and the existing IT room, which serves the MDF for the building, will remain in its current location. The phase 2 additions, which are highlighted here in green, feature a new kitchen and cafeteria, which includes a stage, a security vestibule, lobby and administrative suite, a large electives classroom, which is near the current electives wing, which you'll see over here on the left, and interior corridors that create an accessible path between all the existing buildings without having to go outside, which I know is very important. After this project concludes, the total size of the school will be 114,000 square feet. Any questions on the floor plan slide? So back to the grade level slide. Again, we're highlighting which grade levels will be in which parts of the building. One thing that I didn't note earlier is we are looking at a target number of classrooms per grade level of 9. So 9 classrooms per grade level. Any questions on this slide? With this project, as well as the HVAC project last summer and the roofing project the summer before, many of the needs of this school will have been addressed. The additions will also give us an opportunity to upgrade the look of the building. I'm not saying it looks bad now, but hopefully it will look better. The next few slides are proposed renderings of how the building will look as you approach the main entrance. So as Mr. Settlemeyer mentioned earlier, you're looking at the superstructure of the gymnasium here. This is the new main entrance of the building. To the left of the main entrance is the cafeteria. To the right of the main entrance is the administrative suite. Here's a fun fact, though. The brick for this school is still available. Can you believe that? 1951 to now. Yep. Turns out it's a Statesville brick. Yep. This next rendering provides a perspective a little farther back. The addition of the building starts in these 3 bays right here. So basically, we'll go from the classroom addition here to the existing building beyond, and then what you're looking at directly in front of you is what we just looked at, which will be an addition as well. So since we're replacing the exterior windows in the existing building, we will have a better opportunity to tie these 2 buildings together. The small windows at the bottom that go into the stucco above will be gone, and will be storefront. The entirety of that opening like there was originally in this building.
Now, is the glass there going to be the kind like at May D that you can't see in?
That's correct. Yes, sir. And that's a good thing about what we'll be replacing the glass throughout the building. There are some areas we were able to, we found out that we can salvage the existing window frames and reglaze them with an upgraded glass. We had a meeting with a glass company about 2 weeks ago out there, and so be able to save some money on that, leave some of those existing frames in place and just reglaze them with the insulated glass. This last rendering is looking at the front entrance from the left-hand side of the car rider line. Any questions or comments on the rendering?
Now, the first slide shows that structure above the gym painted blue. How did I?
Yeah, I think I think that may be some of the sky reflecting off of it. We're talking.
Okay, all
But
right.
now, listen, that's a great point. That's most definitely could be part of the project if that's something folks fell in love with.
To me, it looks blue from here, but then when you showed the last one, it looked black.
I've never noticed that, but you're right, it does. That can be part of this discussion. So, but I appreciate the time to talk with you guys about this tonight, and just want to reiterate how excited we are to be part of the project, and in our opinion how well it's going, and and thank you for the opportunity. Any other questions?
No, I just want to say thank you for the great renderings here. Thank you for working with our staff. Thanks our staff for working with you guys on getting this where it is right now. And thanks to Catawba County for letting us be able to do this. And 6th grade over there.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready to go. Let's let her.
Okay, we've already got the graphics up here. Thank you all for having us this evening. My name's Jenny McGraw, and I'm an architect with LS3P, and we are excited tonight to be giving you an update on the 4 remaining middle schools as part of this project. And so first, we will start with HM Art. So currently we're in the design development phase of the project. And so these drawings reflect where we are to date. These are site plans and floor plans that we'll be sharing with you this evening. So this is an overall site plan, and you can see the area that's shaded in blue is a new classroom addition. Here at Arndt, that's 4 classrooms, and there's a hallway connection back to the existing school, an interior hallway connection back to the school. In yellow, a little bit further down between baseball and softball, you'll see a new concessions and restroom building that'll be provided for those athletic fields. That'll be a standalone building. And between those two, you'll see in that dark gray off of 36th Avenue, there's a new drive aisle that will be providing fire lane access to both of those buildings. So that will be a new fire lane access on the back side of the building where they'll be able to access that new classroom addition as well as the concessions building. And then on the bottom part of the page here, you'll see in orange, we've got the cafeteria expansion that's growing off of the existing cafeteria for the school. So the next plan will kind of zoom into the floor plan. And similarly, what you see in white and gray is the existing school. And then what you see in color is the additions and renovations. So you can see over here in the light purple is the cafeteria expansion. And so that's actually adding some additional tables for 60 seats at the cafeteria. And then in the dark purple, we're providing a new serving line and some some kitchen renovations in that area. In the dark gray in the center, that's actually an existing classroom that will be converted into accessible restrooms right in the center of the school. And then as you move to this other side of the floor plan, you'll see that interior connection, that hallway connection, and then those 4 classrooms in green. And this 4 classroom addition is about 7,600 square feet, and it's located near the existing band, chorus, and CTE classrooms. So it's on this side of the building floor plan. Some additional scope for Art Middle School is upgrading some finishes like flooring, paint, ceiling, and lighting, as well as some mechanical upgrades. So replacing the existing air handlers, refurbishing the chillers, and upgrading the control system as well. So that's the overall floor plan and site plan for Arndt. I'm happy to answer any questions. Overall.
Go back to the site plan. Somebody I know that coaches over there says there's no water down to the softball field. Is this going to bring water closer to the softball field? Is it currently kind of put up there? Because it says concessions and restrooms, so I'm assuming there'll be infrastructure upgrades to that area.
Infrastructure there. I think we can see, yes. I mean, there will be water supply to that building.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move to Mill Creek. So this overall site plan is similar. You can see the new building addition in blue with that interior connection back to the existing school. There are actually 2 concessions and restroom buildings here on this site plan because of the distance between the existing soccer field and the baseball and softball. In order to provide access for both of the bleachers for each of those, we have 2 separate concessions and restroom buildings provided. And then along the back side, that same cafeteria expansion near the bus parking lot as far as the site plan. If we go to the floor plan of the new building addition, so this is actually an overall first floor plan view because in order to fit, this is a 14 classroom addition at Mill Creek. It's actually a 2-story building addition to fit on the existing site. And so that is coming off of the existing CTE classroom wing. And so this is the first floor, which shows 7 classrooms in green, as well as some administration space, restrooms, stairs, elevator. And then that 2-story addition in total is 24,637 square feet. And then the cafeteria expansion you can see in the light purple, that's adding on to the existing cafeteria, adds an additional 120 seats to that cafeteria. As well, the school will receive some cosmetic upgrades to finishes like flooring, paint, ceiling, and lighting. and then some mechanical upgrades as well. And then the second floor plan shows you a similar plan of the remaining 7 classrooms with, again, some administration space, restrooms, and circulation. Any questions on Mill Creek? Okay. Next, we have Riverbend Middle School. And so this overall site plan, you'll see in the blue shaded area is a 4 classroom addition, and it's between the 7th and 8th grade wings. And you'll also notice that in dark gray, there is a new fire lane access that provides access along that back side of both of those classroom wings as well as the addition. And it connects the back bus parking lot with the front parking lot as well. There's 1 concessions and restroom building here in yellow between baseball and softball, and then the cafeteria expansion in orange along the backside near bus parking. The floor plan, you'll see the 4 classroom addition here in green, and that total is 5,730 square feet. It's located between the existing 7th and 8th grade classrooms. As far as the designation between 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, that's still under review with Catawba County Schools and the team as far as where each of those classrooms will go, but those classrooms are a typical size that can accommodate any grade level. And then in purple, you see the addition to the existing cafeteria, which will provide 120 additional seats. The remaining school will also receive cosmetic upgrades like flooring, ceiling, paints, and lighting like the other schools, and as well as some mechanical upgrades as well. Any questions here? And then the last school we'll go over is Jacobs Fork. So in this site plan, similarly, we have 4 classrooms that will be added on to the 7th and 8th grade wings in a similar orientation and spot. And then you'll notice that the softball field is actually being moved down next to the baseball field. And so the existing softball next to the bus parking lot will actually be relocated down here next to baseball. And the new concessions and restroom building will serve both of those ball fields in its new location. The dark gray drive aisle provides fire lane access to that classroom addition and the wings, as well as a new drive aisle down to some additional parking spaces that are accessible and in close proximity to that concessions and restroom building. And as well, we have the cafeteria expansion in this main core as well. So the floor plan is very similar to Riverbend. We have the 4 additional classrooms in green located between the 7th and 8th grade wings. This addition is approximately 5,800 square feet. Again, the designation of 6th, 7th, and 8th is still under review, and the cafeteria expansion adds 120 additional seats to the cafeteria. And this school will also receive some cosmetic renovation upgrades like flooring, paint, ceiling, and lighting, as well as mechanical. So thank you.
Thank you for
That was a
putting
lot
this.
of information,
yeah.
so please feel free to ask me questions.
Yeah, thank you for putting this together. Your group too, thanks for putting this together. Thanks for working with our staff, and I hope it worked well with you on this. And thank you very much. Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah. We haven't discussed this, but something I just thought of. So the Ford football field, if we could add new restrooms where we do the ticket booth over there, upgrade restrooms, because we only have those good restrooms on the other side. Not very accessible for the home team. There we go. And then you would also have a space for your tennis players to have a restroom, which I think has been a problem in the past. I don't know, just something to maybe think about.
Talking about where her mouse hand is right now. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, right in
that
there.
area.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be a great area for some nice home side restrooms. Maybe a upgraded concession stand, and then it could serve the tennis courts. Know where the budget comes from, Robert, but it might be something to look at. I apologize for not speaking of this earlier, but sometimes stuff just comes to you.
The aerial view gives you a real shot if you're playing tennis, like where do you go to the bathroom? Run or walk somewhere. Yeah. Thank you for your input, Dr. Stover. Sure Dan appreciate, yeah, Robert appreciates it.
Well, thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Greg.
If there are no other questions or comments, I seek approval of current schematic design for sixth grade middle school additions and renovations project for Maiden Middle School, H.M. Art Middle School, Jacobs Fork Middle School, Mill Creek Middle School, and River Bend Middle School.
Make that motion.
Hearing plenty of people make the motion, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, shall raise of hand. That is unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Westmoreland. Oh, you're up again. Look here. Approval of Johnson Controls quote for a new fire alarm system at Blackburn Elementary School. Mr. Westmoreland.
Yes, sir. And before I move on, I just do want to kind of give you we'll obviously bring updates and kind of keep you in the loop. But the next kind of benchmark will be when we come back with, for your approval and amend our contract with the guaranteed maximum price, our GMP. And that's when we kind of finalize, we'll know the cost of everything. And then when we get that approved, then we can start construction. So that'll be kind of next, I put a timeline, but probably maybe early next year, February-ish maybe. That's probably when that'll be ready. So don't hold me to that, but that's kind of what we're thinking today. So,
Thank you.
sir. Okay, so the fire alarm switch out at Blackburn, this is basically a total replacement for the system. It is antiquated, so basically what that means, if something breaks, we can't fix it. And so this is our oldest system we have in the district, so it's time to replace. And so you'll see here too that with this, it's a 1-year warranty for material and workmanship. And our plan here is to conduct this work, if approved, after hours. That way we're not interrupting the school. So they can conduct most of this work after hours, with hopefully the completion being, I think, Robert, you said we'd probably say maybe by Thanksgiving. Hopefully it will be completion there on that. So this is Johnson Controls. We have a sole source with them. This helps us with just, quicker repairs and honestly fewer parts. It helps us be efficient in the maintenance department. So the total switch out here is $216,444.95, and this will be funded with capital outlay through the county government. So with that, do you guys have any questions?
You know how old the current system is that's in it?
1995. So we've got our money's worth there. So. Yes, sir. That's pretty standard with these. So just with equipment now, if lightning strikes, those kinds of things, no. But like if any faulty materials, they'll replace that for, yes, sir. Or if it's installed improperly, that kind of thing.
If there are no further questions, seek approval for the Johnson Controls quote for a new fire alarm system at Blackburn Elementary School. Hearing a motion, is there further discussion? Those in favor shall raise a hand. Unanimous. Let's get that
Thank you very much.
safety piece over there. Next up is approval of 4 change orders for the sawmill building at Fred T. Ford High School.
Good evening, Dr. Stover, Chairman Settlemeyer, and members of the board. Tonight, I bring to you 4 change orders related to the sawmill building project over at Fred T. Ford. In December of 25, if you'll remember, we approved the final contract amount with Neal Construction of $278,473. Since then, we have erected the main structure of the building and done all the grading. Neal Construction is done with their part of the project, and all that is left is to finish the restroom building so that we are code compliant to open that classroom structure. So in the course of doing that, change order, the total for the 4 change orders is a credit back to Catawba County Schools of $40,000 in total. So change order number 1 is a $30,000 credit to remove the electrical work from the main sawmill structure. So Catawba County School Maintenance electricians have done that work. That's the lighting, the emergency lighting, and any other associated electrical work, outlets and that sort of thing. Change order number 2 is a $3,000 credit to remove the restroom electrical work from the contract. So our guys will do that work. The maintenance guys will do that work. Change order number 3 is a $500 credit to remove a yard hydrant from the ground beside the main sawmill building. Now that we have a restroom structure, our plumbers will put a faucet on the side of that building, which is a lot cheaper and easier to maintain. And then change order number 4 finally is a $6,500 credit of the remaining unused general contingent. So the final value of the project with Neal Construction will be $238,473. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
It's always nice to get money back from something or not have to spend as much as you thought.
Yes, sir.
But will this $40,000 cover that restroom? Ticket booth?
What do you think? You think Mr. Sink said we could name the sinks after him.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise the hand. Unanimous, thank you, sir. Next up is nomination of Catawba Valley Board of Education members for possible vacancies on North Carolina School Boards Association Board of Directors, presented by Dr. Stover.
Sedemire, members of the board, it's that time of year to nominate a possible board of directors vacancy for the North Carolina School Boards Association. Carry a name there, and then you'd still have to be elected by that body as well. They are looking for one nomination from this.
First off, is there anybody that's would be interested in doing this? How long is this term? 2 years? Your term. The interested term is 2 years, and members are eligible to serve for 2 terms. The NCHA Board of Directors holds in-person meetings in September, November, March, and June. In addition, each board member typically serves on 2 committees that meet virtually once or twice during the year. Other meetings are scheduled as needed. It is important that individuals elected on the board be able to attend regularly scheduled meetings. The deadline for submissions is September 25th. Probably need to pick a person tonight, and because it seems like this. Greg? Greg, would you be interested in doing this? Correct. All right, Greg, is there any other nominations? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of nominating Greg Whitener for the North Carolina School Board Association Board of Directors Selection Committee? Need that nomination? I need that motion for that nomination. Now that I have the motion, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise their hands. That is unanimous. Thank you, Greg. He is Greg Whitener. Next up is a presentation on first reading proposed Catawba County Board of Education policies 6.1230 and 4.4500 emergency epidemic delivery systems, presented by Jonathan Sink.
Thank you, Chairman Settlemeyer, Madam Chair Underwood, and members of the board. Appreciate the time on this. For first reading tonight, and therefore no vote, just presenting this on first reading, is the EpiPen policy, as I call it. And shout out to Dr. Chad Maynard for putting this on the table for consideration. As you'll see before you is a one-page document, top right corner, descriptor code 6.1230 /4.45. And there has been very little, I will just tell you, that I tweaked. I read all of the model school board policies that come out of the North Carolina SBA. And as you'll see on the next round, there are some things that we do change from time to time. Very little's changed on this. I felt like for our board, in light of the legal framework, statutorily and otherwise, this is what we needed. And what it does in substance, when you get about 5-6 paragraphs down, is it makes sure that our schools, every one of them, has 2 EpiPen kits just available. My understanding is logistically, we already have EpiPens in our schools. Takes nothing away at all from students who are trained and prescribed to administer them to themselves, and it flows very well with an already existing policy that we have on the administration of medications in schools. But this was needed. We needed this in our policy lineup, and so just on for first reading, but it's just ensuring that when it comes to life-threatening anaphylaxis is what we're dealing with here. Obviously, this is important, and to have this on our policy rolls is not just something in name only, it means something. So that's what this policy is. It's just making sure that designated trained school personnel are authorized to do this. You won't see anywhere in here where someone is forced to administer life-saving measures. That's not what this policy is about. When you look at the statute's clear that you can't force them to do that anyway. But it is something that we need, and thanks to Dr. Maynard for putting this up, teeing this up for at least a first read. And if it pleases the board, I'll go on to our policies that are on for second reading, which will, of course, require a vote for adoption. The first one, you'll see some numbers out to the side, I believe, in your materials, board members 4.0 and 7.0. Those are just placeholders. In massaging those out, and I'll turn my attention to Ms. Wetzel, and this is on me, not her. I've been massaging out where this should specifically go if adopted by the board. And just before we get into the meat and reminder about what these policies are, what they're about, I would recommend, just as a piece of information, if I could, on A, student privacy policy and restrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations, if adopted, for that to be 4.335, and then B, for that to be 7.600. Seemed to me to be the most logical place. Not a substantive thing, but still important if adopted for them to go in a proper place. So first things first, you'll see on page 4 of your agenda, item 8, consideration approval, second reading, our student privacy in restrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations. Board members were very clear. Y'all came to me and you said, look, we want a policy that aligns with a student's biological sex, for boys to go in boys' bathrooms, locker rooms, other private multi-use facilities to be in boys' bathrooms, ladies and ladies. There's a carve-out exception, as there should be, for emergency services. If, God forbid, there's a bomb threat or something like that on school campus, run and go wherever you can. There is also nothing in this policy that would preclude school administrators from making reasonable accommodations pursuant to law, given the facts and circumstances of very specific cases. And we could throw out 1,700 hypotheticals right now, which we won't. But this policy gives leeway to do that as well, such as single-use bathrooms where the student feels more secure, more private, more safer, and more dignified. Those are all words that you'll see in this policy. And so I think board members are well aware of Fourth Circuit case law on this, and they're also well aware of the current presidential administration's executive order, where he directs federal education authorities and other agencies to go by, including the Department of Education, the the U.S. Department of Education, to go by a student's biological sex when thinking about Title IX. I mean, you name it. You name the federal reg and law. So that is what, again, I would recommend, if adopted, that the number be attached at 4.335. And if a motion's made, obviously, chairman and members to state that in their student privacy in restrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations policy, that be stated in the motion. I'll go on, and then please stop me, but I'll finish, and perhaps y'all can ping me with whatever questions, concerns you may have. But on item 8B, again, this would be prospectively 7.6, board policy 7.6 if adopted, video and audio recordings in classrooms. And so when you get into this policy, this is another policy that was promulgated by the state, North Carolina State School Boards Association. It's being widely adopted, tweaked in some areas. When I read through this policy in consultation with operations and other departments, it was very clear to me, and even some of our local judicial officials, it was very clear to me in those conversations, and just from a plain reading of the draft policy, that things did need to change for my 7 board members, which make up the Catawba County School Board. And that is, when you look through the strike-throughs, and can we go on down a little bit just to make sure that, okay, so the public's seeing this too. When you see the strike-throughs throughout this policy, what I have eliminated are things that are inconsistent with North Carolina's one-party consent state. I think everybody on this board, Dr. Stover, as the CEO, so to speak, of the school system, and our department leads, know that North Carolina is one of the 38 states that's a one-party consent state. If Pastor and I are having a conversation, he wants to record me, he doesn't need my consent to do so. There were just things in the original draft handed down from the association in Raleigh that would not just go against that, it would almost create a special right and privilege to be notified if, say, you're in an employee's summative evaluation, if you're having that conversation in Ray Thompson's world, for the school system employee to say, I have to stop you and let you know that I'm recording. I just didn't think it made sense, from what I know about my 7 electeds on this board, that it made sense to go against North Carolina's one-party consent statutory construction, the baseline legal reality in North Carolina, and to include, you'll see that almost half the policy, and they come out with a lot of great policies. To me, this is one that needed more work and attention, because here it's, we're a one-party consent state. And so why would we change that at the local level and at a minimum cause confusion, not to mention in a worst case scenario, obstacles for our employees, not just Ray Thompson herself, but others in HR, school principals, your APs who are having these employment-related conversations, to have to climb one more mountain and check the box of, hey, we're going outside of the one-party consent realm and into some, I think of them as special rights, when you start requiring another person's consent for recording. This is 2026 here, and I think we all know that there's cameras everywhere. That's not wonderful, and a lot of you feel like you're being watched, but I think y'all operate, our employees already operate as if what they say and what they do is being recorded most of the time. And so that's North Carolina. That's the state we live in. And so the reason you see that half of this draft policy is marked through is so to avoid that potential confusion, not to mention hurdles from an employment law standpoint. So it's a long way of blabbing on about 2 policies for second reading, but I would certainly yield for any questions, thoughts, concerns, anything you have or need. Thank you.
Thank you for putting these both together at the direction of the board.
Yes, sir.
So when I ask for a motion, do I need to use the numbers you used, 4.335 and 7.600?
I would on that, sir. Yes, yes.
Here on the end of both of those? It'll be 4.3350, 7.6000. Okay. Are there any questions or comments on either one of these policies presented by Mr. Sink? Hearing none, I seek a motion for approval of policy student privacy in restrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations, scripture code 4.3350. Video and audio recordings in classrooms, 7.6000. Hearing a motion, is there any further?
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
Should we do these separately?
It's totally the board's prerogative
Okay.
on that. As long as both are named in the motion, I'm good keeping y'all clean.
Would you rather be separated, Greg, or?
Fine, I just want to make sure we were legal on how we presented
Gotcha.
it, so.
Okay. All right, I have a motion on both policies to be approved. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. That is unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all for letting me work on them.
Next is this, yes, next, you're staying up there. Discussion on timeline for completion of the superintendent's evaluation presented by Jonathan Sink.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I'm just reading what's on my script here.
So, Mr. Sink and I failed to have a quick conversation, but what we've done in the past is, the board, prepares or gets ready to do our evaluation. Usually takes, 1 or 2 months to fully complete because we get input from all our administrators, so that takes a little while. You get that input, and then they go in to fill out their forms. But Mr. Sink, you being the new school board attorney too, talked to chairman about this, but want to make sure everybody's good with that and aligned legally. I think that is the way of North Carolina. However, good, Mr. Sink?
That's the majority rule in how you do it. The important thing to remember is just to fill it out. You'll each get one. It may seem simple, but if you just do it and you do it honestly, I know he appreciates that. So it is the majority rule, the majority practice in North Carolina.
Is there anything further we need to do with that, Mr. Sink, right now?
Not at this time. It's up to when y'all want to do it.
Let's have it ready by the October working session. I think that'll be fun. Any questions about the? All right, next up, we will need to go into closed session for General Statute 143-318.11 alpha to protect confidential or privileged information, to consult with an attorney to protect the attorney-client privilege, and personnel. So I seek a motion to go into closed session. Hearing a motion, is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. We'll go into closed session, we will reconvene in closed sessions at 7:30.